Hi, welcome to Beef Cattle Institute's Ask the Experts, where our experts will answer your questions. And I've got two great experts here with me today, Dr. Philip Lancaster
Hey, Brad.
and Dr. Bob Larson.
Hey, good morning.
So on this program, we get a chance to answer your questions. You can always send us a question at bci@ksu.edu. And as they answer the question, they get up to 10 points for their answer. Today's question is a great one because it's based on as we're coming into summer and worried about dry conditions. And if my forage supplies are low, am I better off to supplement the cows or plant a warm season forage? Philip, I'm going to go to you first.
Well, this is a tough decision. Obviously, it comes down to economics to start with. But with low hay supplies, probably have to transport it a long ways. I'm going to make a pretty good assumption that hay is going to be extremely expensive if you're not going to have enough pasture to make it through the summer. And so the other alternative is to plant a warm season forage that is drought tolerant. Obviously, you're going to have some rain, or if you got a little bit of irrigation that you can use, but some drought tolerant forages that you could graze through the later half of the summer to extend pasture and get yourself through summer and before you have to start feeding hay.
Okay, excellent. So 5 points out of the gate for Philip. Now, Bob, what about just providing a supplement to the cows?
Well, I think, as Philip said, a lot of it has to do with availability and cost. So if I have some locally available, and that might be some byproduct feeds or something like that, which are quite a bit more energy and protein dense than our forages, so quantity isn't that much in that I'm not expecting to deliver as much, but it still has to be available. And so there are times when, cows are supposed to be out grazing forages during the summertime. But if there's not enough forage, we do have to come up with something. And if there's locally available byproducts, that's a good place to start looking to really expand or extend the grazing days.
Okay, so I'm going to stay with you and follow up on your supplement question. So am I better off to wait until I need it, I run out of grass, or should I supplement when they've got grass out there? Because you said it, this is a weird time to be odd time to be supplementing.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be situationally dependent, but I think you would start thinking about it now and really looking to see how bad am I? How bad is the situation? And so I would rather start early than late because that gives you more options to adjust as time goes along.
Okay. Situationally dependent still counts as it depends.
Yeah, it does.
So you had 8 points, but you would drop back to 7. So, Philip, what type of forages are you thinking about there?
So the most drought tolerant that we can plant are the sorghum Sudans. Now, they have some setbacks or some disadvantages to using those. But they're going to be the most drought tolerant. There are some others. I can use some pearl millets. Those are summer annuals that will work, and they don't have some of the disadvantages that the sorghum Sudan grasses have. I can also do some things like with crabgrass, and that is also doesn't have those disadvantages. But the pearl millet and the crabgrass are not as drought tolerant. So that I'm going to have more rain or more irrigation water for those than I would for the sorghum Sudan. So there's a trade-off there.
And do I have to have a specific place to put these? Because I can't just put these in my pasture. You're talking about having a separate place, or are you talking about overseeding?
You could overseed. I think you could overseed. If you've got a pasture, say you grazed it early and it's going to be dry, you could overseed it with some of the sorghum Sudans. You come in with a no-till drill and drill it in, as long as you've got a pasture that's accessible with equipment. That's obviously going to be a factor there. But that gives you don't have to have separate acreage. You could overseed these into a normal pasture, particularly like a Bermuda grass would work well, or something like that.
Yep, depending on what kind of pasture you've got. And I like both those approaches. So as you think about any last thoughts on making this decision, supplement versus going forward with planting a different variety, Bob?
Well, I do think that producers that can use the sorghum Sudan, that can be a great option, but you do have to be aware of the health issue, which is high nitrates. And so you need some experience. Work with, if you've not fed this forage before, you need to talk to your veterinarians, some agronomists, anybody that can help you really understand how to avoid the nitrate risk.
Absolutely. I think great comments from both of you today. Bob ended up with 9 points. Philip ended up with 8. Thanks for joining us. If you have questions, you can send us an email at bci@ksu.edu.